What's up, everyone? This is Ryuki here. Today I'll be giving my impressions and thoughts on the Mirror's Edge Catalyst closed beta for the PlayStation 4. This closed beta also released on the Xbox One and PC. Also want to mention that all opinions in this video are my own, and what you'll be seeing mainly in this impressions and thoughts video is just the menu. I'll leave gameplay in a separate video if you want to see how it plays or you want to see how it looks while it's playing, etc. That'll be in a separate video. So while I was playing the Mirror's Edge Catalyst closed beta, I didn't have my expectations too high to expect any big improvements over the original, only because to me the original Mirror's Edge had its ups and downs. It has pros and its cons, and it wasn't a perfect game in my opinion. But playing the closed beta for Catalyst and doing a little bit of research, what if this was a reboot or not, and for what I've researched, a lot of people are saying that this is a reboot, so I'm assuming that Catalyst is just another reboot. And playing the beta, I felt that it did feel like a reboot. The way they presented the opening mission, and they gave you a taste of what to expect from the story and what you saw in the world. It was really interesting to see how that all unfolded early on in the closed beta. But before I get into that, I want to talk about gameplay and how the controls felt in the Mirror's Edge Catalyst closed beta. The controls felt a lot more solid and a bit simplified this time around. It was a lot of things you get to do with L1 on the PS4 controllers, so it was pretty easy to learn what's going on and how to play. The square button on the PlayStation 4 controller, which would be the X button on the Xbox One controller, was just to do your basic melee punches, and the triangle button on the PlayStation 4 controller, which is the Y button on the Xbox One controller, was where you do kicks. But the noticeable thing about the kicks, anyway, if you press left on the analog, she does a left kick. If you press right on the analog, she does a right kick. She's doing all kinds of different kicks, apparently. And there's some tricks too, like if you're on the zip line, you come off of it and you press triangle the right time, you could do like a crazy dive kick, etc. But everything feels spot on. And what I mean by this, excuse me, is that there's really no screw up. Like if you're on the zip line, for example, and you press triangle on the right time, you're bound to hit the opponent that's ahead of you, whether if it's a guard or whatever, you're going to hit them. Now, if you screw up and you press it too early, most likely you might miss the person. So basically, if you screw up while playing, it's pretty much you screwed up. But that was my experience with playing the closed beta. I felt like the controls were very responsive and that there was really no delays. I didn't feel any delays between what I pressed on the controller to the closed beta. I felt like the controls were pretty solid. Yeah, they're simplified. There's no denying that. It felt a bit simpler, but I think that's a good thing in my opinion. It felt like the controls in the first Mirror's Edge, though they are similar, they just felt like there was just delay left and right. Where Mirror's Edge Catalyst, it feels a lot more solid and approved, and that to me is a good thing. Overall, you also get a hint of the soundtrack in the game, and not the soundtrack necessarily, the music, the audio. It's just as mellow as the first Mirror's Edge game. I felt like that anyway, especially after you beat the first opening mission. You hear a little bit of it, and I think that was another thing that really stood out to me from the first Mirror's Edge game was the song at the end of the game, where in this one you still kind of have that lingering around, but not the song itself, but just a little hint of the theme. So it was really cool to see that nod to the original one. Besides that, you also get a taste of the story in the closed beta, and that was what the interesting thing to me was. Excuse me, because you get a taste of the story or what they're redoing with the story, and you see a young Faith, and obviously there's an argument and whatnot happening, and then after that, you see you're in a cell. Well, not you, but she's in the cell, and that's when everything just starts happening and unfolding. And it was really cool to see that they're really putting more emphasis into the story this time. Like, it brings more life to the character, and it doesn't leave you wondering too much about who Faith is, but you get to learn what she is, what she's about, and what happened to her, and what's going on in this messed up world of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. And that's another thing I point out. The world does seem a bit more alive in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, but hopefully when they release the official game, which will be, it was delayed, it will be released on June 7th in North America and in June 9th in Europe. But when it does release, I'm hoping that there are missions where you're running through crowds of people, or you just see some life in the Mirror's Edge Catalyst world. Because for what I've seen so far in Alpha, it seems like the city's alive. Like you see floating cars and whatnot. So it would be cool if there was also missions where you're like running and then you have to run on one of these cars or jump on them and then you have to jump on them. But they could just get really creative with how that works and what they could do with other missions. But I'm looking forward to mainly the story now after playing the Catalyst beta, because it seems like they're putting a lot of effort into that part, and I think that's a good thing, because I wasn't really a big fan of the first Mirror's Edge with the whole panel and the art. I think what they're doing with Catalyst is a good thing, and hopefully it comes out well when it's and it's received well. Excuse me, when it's released in June. But besides that, yeah, I could say my experience with the closed beta has been good, pretty much for a Catalyst. There were some noticeable things. Sometimes the audio doesn't, and I've noticed that anyway. Sometimes it'll be a second or two delay from when the character's talking from the audio, but I'm pretty sure that's most likely going to get fixed when it officially releases, hopefully on when it comes out in June. But nonetheless, I didn't encounter too many bugs or problems when I play the closed beta. But I wouldn't be surprised if there are bugs or some sort of glitch or problems with the closed beta. But I didn't cross by any, so I can't say oh my gosh, I went through a wall or whatever. That didn't happen to me. So, anyways, I enjoyed the closed beta, but yeah, that's pretty much the end of my impressions and thoughts of this. It was good. It was solid. Hopefully the game is just as interesting. But what do you guys think? Did you get to play the closed beta? Did you get to like it, or you just thought it was a fail? Feel free to comment down below and express your thoughts and opinions about your experience, if you got to experience it, or if you're just interested in what I have to say about it. Then feel free to drop a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's right there, highlighted in red words, or should be highlighted in red words. And yeah, hit that button, or at least a like. It's very appreciated. It's not that it's not. It is. I can't express that enough. Anyways, this is Ryuka here saying thanks for watching. Until next time, everyone. Sayonara.